Well, hello, my friends. I am excited to be here with Tom Everson. He's the executive director of Keep Kids Alive Drive 25. Tom, it's so great to see you today.
Well, thank you very much, Andy. I'm happy to be here.
Well, this is an exciting year, and I know so many people. You've seen those signs around for such a long time, but this is an anniversary year.
Yes, it is. This is our 25th anniversary, and July in particular is a special month because that's actually the month in 1998 when I came up with the idea for Keep Kids Alive Drive 25.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that. Yeah, tell us the history of this.
Well, I'm a runner, and that plays a role in this. I was not intending to found a nonprofit at all. I was just concerned about the safety of our four kids who are between 4 and 10 years of age back in 1998, as well as the kids in the neighborhood, because there's a lot of running around and having fun and just being kids. And had contacted the city because a lot of us we just believe that if you can get a speed bump on your street, that somehow everything will work itself out. And I got the packet from traffic engineering and started reading it and understood why it wasn't an appropriate solution for our street because our house sits at the end of a hill
Mhm.
uh, and then goes downhill from there. It's kind of a ski slope effect. And if you put a speed bump on a hill, then if a speeding car hits it, could become airborne, and then you've got more problems than you thought you had in the first place. So
Yeah.
anyway, I still didn't have any intent in terms of starting anything, but I was out for a run early, probably about 5:30 in the morning in late July of 1998. And the phrase "Keep Kids Alive, Drive 25" literally popped in my head. In fact, I could tell you exactly where it happened. It was rounding the corner of 120th and Center.
Okay.
And so that should give people a good visual of
Yeah.
where that happened. But just when I thought of the phrase, I just mulled it over, and as crazy as it may sound, I believe that I could start a national traffic safety campaign to address traffic safety concerns in neighborhoods to start out with. We've grown a lot in different directions since then, just with this slogan. And so I went out and Mike Cottrell, who I know
Yes.
he actually there's just he was working at a graphic design shop that was probably about a mile from our house, and I didn't know any graphic designers, and I let him know what we wanted. We wanted a graphic with this, and he
Uh-huh.
created what's become kind of an iconic graphic because we've worked with over 1,700 communities in 49 states and as far away as Queensland State, Australia, since I started this thing. So we've created quite a network around the country of working with municipalities and with schools and neighborhood groups and anybody who is interested in traffic safety. So in a nutshell, that's a little bit of our
Yeah.
origin story.
And then you kind of went out and you just started putting up those signs. Um,
Well, actually, the police department here locally was really played a vital link in that because there was a Lieutenant Vosek who's long retired, and he actually came up with the idea for the yard signs.
okay.
My background, I spent 7 years working in Boys Town before I started this, and that's what brought our family to Omaha. And at Boys Town, it was always you can't do it with the kids unless you can show that it's making a difference to move the behavioral needle from negative to positive. So
Okay.
I was really armed with that mindset. So just because it was suggested we do yard signs, I didn't just automatically jump in and do them. I had
Right.
Mike made one for us, and I stuck it in our yard, and I did the only kind of research that I felt like I could do with no money. It was
Right.
it was called My Two Eyes. It was observational research, and so what I would do is I might be out playing with the kids, or I might be in the living room looking out the front window. But what I was looking for when cars passed the sign were brake lights. And I would just
Okay.
record every time I'd see brake lights when cars went by. And, over 75% of the time, cars were braking.
Yeah.
And so the police department came back and they did a speed study in our neighborhood. And so we verified that the average speed in our neighborhood was 31 in a 25 zone. And some people might not be too worried about that, but the high was 57, the
Okay.
low was 17. So Wendy, my wife and I, we walked our neighborhood. We made up a little sheet with the data on it and just asked our neighbors if they thought this might be a viable thing to do. And after getting only 2 negative responses in 160 visits, we said, well, let's try it. And
Yeah.
so yard
Wow.
signs were born from there, and they're still around today.
Well, that what an amazing story. Um, so one of the things we're going to talk about before I let you go is the Live Forward Run Walk to Remember 5K, and that's
Right.
coming up on July 29th. So take it away.
Well, not too far into our history, I began to be contacted by families whose loved ones had died in traffic incidents.
Yeah,
And it wasn't something I really had on my mind that was going to be part of our mission to start out with, but they very much have become part of our mission. And that's where Live Forward was born. Live Forward is all about supporting families in bringing good into the world and honor their loved ones.
yeah,
And so our local 5K is a way to bring families together to really celebrate the lives and love that their loved ones not only shared, but to me, they'll always share because they carry them in their hearts each and every
yeah.
day. So this will be our 12th edition. Scott High School, they donated their facility to us the first year and have every year since. So
Awesome.
it's pretty wonderful when you have parking, when you have a track to start and finish on, when you've got a press box, when you've got a video board, when you've
Yep.
got all amenities. So, families, they typically they form teams, and the families get to choose the color of their shirts. So, it's usually the favorite color of their loved one.
Yeah.
They choose the team name. We tailor everything that we possibly can to the families. They'll send in a favorite photo, and we'll have signs made that line the route out and back, and they can pick the sign up on their way back, take it home. I know many families have like a memorial garden at home, and they'll
Yeah.
put the sign there. And we have a DJ, and we ask families to submit 3 or 4 songs that are reminders that bring up good memories of their loved ones. So the whole playlist is devoted to the families, but the public is welcome to join us. I mean,
Mhm.
anybody who's concerned about people, about traffic safety. The Omaha Police Department will be out. They'll be passing out some free Keep Kids Alive Drive 25 yard signs.
Yeah.
And we'll have most likely we'll have Werner Trucking out to do the no zone where you can climb into the cab. The mascots for both the Storm Chasers and Union Omaha will be out. The Y is bringing out some games, so it's a very family friendly
Yeah.
event.
Yeah. I mean, how many families, I mean, I'm sure this has grown over the years, but how many families do you think like this year or maybe last year kind of participated from the standpoint of they can relate to your organization and have been impacted by it?
Yeah. Well, we usually have 15 to 20 teams that form,
Okay.
and and that changes from year to year in terms of families because
Yeah.
we've had families that have participated once, we've had families that have participated, 3, 4, 5 times, and as often as they need to.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
so it varies from year to year.
Right. Well, I'm excited to be coming out and joining you on the 29th. And again, you're just inviting, everyone to come out and participate in the 5K. They can walk it, they can run it, and then we've just got all this, festivity activity coming, going on at the same time. So it's really a celebration of everyone in our community.
It is, and bubbles will be present, meaning literal bubbles. And
Okay.
yeah, and I'll just leave it at that. But
Okay.
also, my son Michael and our daughter-in-law Joe will be out to sing our anthem, which is a song called "Love Is Here to Stay" that they composed themselves. And Michael actually visited with a couple of families who've been involved with us because he wanted the lyrics of the song to actually reflect what families actually say,
Yeah.
not what thought they felt. And so they debuted that in 2015. And so since
Okay.
it's our 25th anniversary, they're coming all the way in from West Virginia, and they're professional performers as well. So they're going to be live sharing that song with everybody, and that'll help start our run that day. It also, any competitive runners out there, we do first, second, and third place for the overall winners. And so, if you're looking for some hardware, we'll create something special in honor of our 25 years and your effort, and
Yeah.
and make sure
Yeah.
you're recognized in that way.
Let's talk about how can people support families of loved ones just throughout the year?
Well, throughout the year, one of the things that is always helpful to us is we have a fund that I call the Live Forward Fund. We do a special event with our runners out in Colorado every year, where our team runs the Pikes Peak Ascent Trail Race in honor of loved ones.
Yeah.
And we bring families together from all over the country to be present. It's kind of what I would call a reverse make-a-wish, because they couldn't do the one last thing they would have liked to have done with their loved one because of the circumstances of their death. So we bring them out to a beautiful place to share stories, to make memories, and to create an informal support network. But also, every family has a runner who carries their loved one's name on their shirt
Okay.
up the mountain. And then they meet him at the top. Well, anyway, events like that need to be funded. And also,
Yeah.
we very much appreciate donations that help to mitigate the expenses for those families who, in ordinary circumstances, could not afford to
Sure.
come out. So that's certainly a way to do that. But really, a bigger way is just from day to day is by reflecting on our own behavior behind the
Yeah.
wheel. Are we observing stop signs? Are we buckling up in the first place? Are we setting our cell phone aside? Are we paying attention to what's going on around us? If we're coming into a neighborhood and we're seeing kids at play or people out walking their dog or whatever the activity might be, do we just simply slow down? Because
Right.
it's just, to me, I guess, generally, it's just the humane and honorable and compassionate thing that we have in our control to do. You
Right.
know, so, those are some of the actions that, I think that we can all take to support everyone because, I am on the Vision Zero technical advisory committee. And for those who don't know what Vision Zero is, you'll be hearing more about this. But Vision Zero is, what can a community do to reduce traffic deaths to zero? Because it's
Mhm.
the only acceptable number. None of us would put our loved one's name in a blank slot and say, okay, it's all right if they die. And
Yeah.
so a lot of what happens on the road happens to be related to how we behave.
Right.
So,
Right.
what can we do to make sure that we get home safe, that our loved ones get home safe? I always like to ask these two questions. Who do you love? Who loves you? Our answers to those questions to me are all the best reasons to slow down, to observe the traffic signals, to buckle up, set aside the cell phone. Those are
Yeah.
things we can do.
Yeah. Well, um, people can register for the event as a team, a solo participant. I know as we're talking, we've got the website down below um, to where you can go. I was just on it earlier, but again, that's the 29th of July, which is coming up here soon. And do you have a goal of how many people you'd like to to participate in this?
Well, I'd love to see us have 250, 300 people. We've had as many as 650. It just depends on the year. And
Right.
one year we had a team that had 240 people on it.
Wow.
Oh, and that family was very well supported, to say
Yeah,
the least. So, and it's not a requirement to, have to have 240 people on your team. I mean,
sure.
but um, that's certainly in the extreme. But I would like to mention, if anybody out there is looking at starting a team or joining a team, we really encourage them to do that by July 14th,
Okay.
because since we tailor the shirts working with the shirt, with the printer, we
Yeah,
want to make sure that everybody has what they'd like to have and the color they'd like to have it. And so we usually need a couple weeks to make sure that that happens. And
right.
so it's kind of hard when it's a late last minute, although we work to make whatever adjustments we possibly can
Sure,
to,
but July 14th is when
yeah.
um is your date if you're running for walking for someone have as a team. So
Yeah, we want to make sure. And teams that have formed, I usually order a few extra shirts for them
yeah,
because people tag on later on and
right,
want to make sure it's
right.
possible. So, yeah.
All right. Well, again, I'm excited for this July 29th, celebrating 25 years. Everybody come on out and I'm sure the weather will be perfect and uh it'll be a great morning.
It might, excuse me, it might be a little warm, but
Yeah.
we will have cold drinks,
All right.
and
All
they
right.
won't have alcohol.
Okay. Right. Right. Well, Tom, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you on the 29th of July.
Well, thanks, Andy. I really appreciate your support.
Yeah, you're welcome.